I'm Vivian, and welcome to my channel. And this is about PCOS, Polycystic Ovarian Syndrome, that I was labeled with many years ago, over a decade, almost 20 years ago. I was labeled with Polycystic Ovarian Syndrome, even though my monthlies were like clockwork, and I had no problems conceiving my 2 kids. And most women that have Polycystic Ovarian Syndrome are way bigger. A lot of the women you see with the puffy face that I do have, hair loss, tend to have an apple-shaped body, tend to be insulin resistant or diabetic. That there's this thing on the back of the neck that is an indication of insulin resistance. And when I first got it, I thought it was because I've been out. I normally had my hair up in a ponytail or up in a bun or clipped. And I was doing a lot of yard work, and I thought maybe that was just the sun. But no, it's a sign of insulin resistance that your body, your body tells you, and especially your skin. I used to have beautiful skin, that whole Asian thing. And now it's just, I got more pimples than I ever did in my life as a teenager. So, that's another thing of PCOS, and it was a constant hunger. I mean, I could eat a full Thanksgiving meal, 2 servings, 2 full plates, dessert, be bloated to where I feel like it's, the food level's up here, and I would still feel hungry. It was, I knew I wasn't hungry. I knew I was very full, but I had a constant hunger. I had to change a lot of things in my lifestyle because that constant hunger, which is a part of PCOS, I couldn't put food, if I fixed a pot of something, I couldn't put the pot on the table, left it on the stove, served myself, we would serve ourselves and sit at the table. But if that pot was in front of me, I would keep loading up my dish. Well, I kind of discounted a lot of stuff other people were saying. And I was like, I'm just going to eat, food is food. GMO, farmers have been doing stuff to manipulate foods for as long as they've been able to cultivate anything. And you can look up videos that, how watermelons change and cucumbers and potatoes, tomatoes, and how farmers did that, gardeners did that. And I didn't think much more of GMOs, and I didn't think, high fructose corn syrup. It's just another sweetener. That's it. And then there's commercials about high fructose corn syrup has the same nutritional value as sugar. And they were trying to, quiet the people that were upset or questioning about the health issues concerning high fructose corn syrup. And it got me thinking, going, there is no nutritional value in sugar. Who do they think they are? I'm upset. They think we're idiots. Same nutritional value as sugar. Sugar has none, zero. In fact, it has very negative values to health. So it was like, okay, what are they hiding? So I thought, okay, I'm gonna cut it out. That just ticked me off. I'm not gonna deal with them, so cut it out. So I cut it out, and I started really reading labels, ingredients in particular. I didn't read the calories. I still don't like to do that. But I like to read the ingredients. What is in this? So I started looking for and started asking manufacturers, buying Heinz, and sent them an email saying, do you have any, it doesn't have to be organic, just not high fructose corn syrup. So I cut that out, and then all of a sudden, for the first time in I can't remember how long, I no longer had that I'm hungry feeling. And yes, fructose, not just high fructose corn syrup, but having a lot of fructose sugar in your diet, that's fruit. A lot of fruits are high in fructose. Our bodies process different sugars differently. Not all sugars are the same. In fact, fructose was probably what drives insulin resistance more than sucrose or glucose. All these sugars that's out there, they're not the same. Calories are not the same. you need to find out what happens. But that, what a relief, decades of constant hunger. It's like if I wasn't eating, I was thinking about food. I had to really distract myself. I was thinking about the next meal, what it was going to be, how I was going to make it, or where I was going to go get it. That was my life. That was a big part of my life because I was constantly hungry. And then all of a sudden have that gone. I can eat all the time. But when you have that drive, it's like, it's maddening. And cutting out high fructose corn syrup, that switch was off. And I try to share that with my doctors, that has really made a big difference. And they're like, yeah. They probably gets my record labeled as, one of those WebMD searching, questioning patients. And I go in and I've had my doctors actually bring out the physician's desk reference and show me stuff going, this is what they say. And I was like, yeah, I know, but this is what's going on. Because they're wrong too. I mean, there's a reason why they call it a practice, okay? Doctors have a practice, and we're being practiced on. Like I said in another video, I had good doctors, so I'm not dishing them. They're good human beings too. This is what they're trained, but this is my body. I'm with it 24/7. I know what's working and what's not working. One of the best advice one of the doctors gave me was to try sugar busters, which pretty much cut out a lot of things that would have had high fructose corn syrup, and it was the first time I felt good in a long time. And then after like a couple of months of doing sugar busters diet, strict, and it was good. I mean, we're eating good food. I went from eating grits or cream of wheat for breakfast to eggs and bacon. Okay, that was a good switch, and my cholesterol actually dropped instead of going up, which you would think. But I've learned since then it's carbs that cause my liver to produce the cholesterol versus eating a meat that's high cholesterol. So try to limit the processed meats, but bacon is my exception. Bacon's its own food category. I'm not ready to give that up. And when I do, it's going to be a sad day, but it will definitely, the changes there has to be so phenomenal. Okay. I'm just telling you my limits at this point. So with PCOS, I took a notebook to my primary and had all the stuff printed out that I found and put notes on it about, I do have people from the Mediterranean area have a higher incident of PCOS. So there's Italian. My father's mother came from Italy. So I definitely a Mediterranean end on that. But my mom is Korean, full-blooded Korean. And Asian women don't normally get PCOS. Their diet just doesn't encourage it. So think about that. So I'm trying to go back to more of a Korean diet, eliminating sources of wheat. So right now, gochujang. I got to start making my own gochujang because they all have wheat. And after I took that notebook, showing all this stuff, and she was very appreciative and wanted to make a copy, but I was like, no, I made it for you. But she said there was a lot of things that she was noticing. And, doctors are people. They have a lot of stuff going on, and even if they're reading the latest AMA, it doesn't cover everything all the time. And I don't think most of them keep up with all of that. They're especially now in today's, this was almost 20 years ago. In today's, it's even worse. It's such a, they have to see so many patients, and they can't sit down and spend time with you. I didn't mind waiting when I knew the doctor was also going to spend time with me and cover things more clearly. Now it's like, what is it? Let's write you up something. Okay, send you on to the next specialist. Out the door, 5 minutes. that's what our health care has come. So you have to be responsible for yourself. But I took the notebook, I gave her the notebook, and then we covered that, and so she sent me on to an endocrinologist. The endocrinologist put me on something for cholesterol, I can't remember the name of it, metformin and some potassium, because something in my blood work. So yeah, definitely probably had to do with part of the, because I grew up, they called it growing pains, but I would wake up crying as a child because my legs were cramping. And they didn't have the internet. My parents didn't have the internet. So that, there's a growing pains and, quit waking us up. So I was on 3 medications, and I was 39 at that point. And after 3 months on these 3, I was taking my grandson, who was about 6 months at that time, out of his car seat, and I was in a parking lot, and it felt like the ground underneath my feet went like this. It just went, and it was all I can do to just hold on to him and fall backwards with him on top. I broke my glasses. I was laying in a parking lot next to my car with my grandson on top of me, and he's screaming. He's like, yeah, I don't blame him. I wanted to scream too. And I'm laying there in shock going, what the heck happened? I was standing. I wasn't walking. I saw my endocrinologist later that week, and I told her, I said, I fell. And I told her that, the circumstances around it, I was just picking them up, and it just went. She said, yeah, that's one of the side effects of one of the medications. And I need to take something else to counter that. And it had side effects, possible side effects. I said, look, I'm 39. I can't start this. Do I have to be weaned off of this, or can I go cold turkey and just stop? And she said, I can stop. And then she started recommending like red rice yeast. It's like, why didn't we start with this for the cholesterol? But this is before I learned about the high fructose corn syrup. So I think a lot of that, my cholesterol issues are not like that anymore. And so, let's say, get back to the whole staying on topic with the PCOS. I talked to her also about that maybe I was misdiagnosed, because around that time I had an pelvic scan done, and my ovaries were perfect. There was nothing wrong with my ovaries. There were no cysts. I've never had cysts. I've never had painful symptoms that most PCOS patients have. So I talked to my endocrinologist and said, maybe I have Cushing's. Maybe the label's wrong. And she said it didn't really matter because the symptoms were the same and we were only treating symptoms. And that was a wake-up call going, wait a minute. I want to know why my body went this way. There's a reason. It didn't just happen, some fluke. I won the lottery on PCOS. I want to know why. I want that addressed, and I want it cured. I don't want to be on medications the rest of my life. I don't, okay, if I had type 1 diabetes, that's not, something happened to my pancreas. I need to take insulin. I understand that. That's a totally different health issue. There's so many things coming out now that our medical industry, and it is an industry, have it really wrong, but they won't change it. They know the information is there. They know, but they don't. So there's a lot of things you can't just trust with the medical industry. So I want to cure whatever this is, Cushing's, PCOS, but it's I've learned it's more of an overall whole endocrine system issue I'm having, and I believe it's stress. Yeah, I'm just not good at dealing with stress in a healthy way. So that's something I'm learning to improve, and that's another whole video series of itself. But I've been able to take care of the worst of the PCOS symptoms or Cushing's symptoms. And the weight gain is a symptom of other things that's wrong. So now at least I'm not dealing with a constant hunger. And the intermittent fasting definitely helps with that. So, and avoiding certain foods, definitely reducing sugar or eliminating sugar as much as possible. No high fructose corn syrup, no. And now they're changing the name of it. So you can just sometimes see fructose, and it's actually high fructose corn syrup. And there are a lot of processed foods, and that's why I just avoid it. Will have, they'll list one ingredient, then they'll list fructose, they'll list glucose, sucrose, sucralose, maltose, malatonin, all these other sweeteners. So it doesn't look like if they were just combined as sugar, it would be the first and main ingredient of what you're drinking or eating. So watch out for that. That makes a big difference. So a lot of times I just have to avoid certain foods. And I'm looking at a clock over here, so I try not to let things go so long, but I did, sorry. This whole PCOS thing, and another thing about that is it was very rare when I was a young woman in my late teens, early 20s, for any of my girlfriends to have this problem. There were some fat chicks, always been, but they didn't have the other PCOS symptoms that I'm aware of. And and we talked about, girls chat, so, we talked about menstrual cycles and stuff, and none of them were like skipping or having such heavy flows at that age. Now, as we got older, I heard from my mom's friends, they were having those issues. That's something that happens. And now I'm definitely in menopause, and I hope, I'm actually looking forward to when it's done and over with. Some friends are like, "Are you still having your period?" Yeah, I was, but hopefully that's done. So there's a lot of things with that should change, but there's a lot of things in our diet now, and I'll discuss that more on the GMO video that's happening to our young women. And if you have a daughter, granddaughter, you're a young person yourself, and you're going to have kids, you want kids, you really need to be aware of this. And some reports are even saying that the health of an infant is predicated on the health of the grandmother. And I'm just going, oh no. It's something we really got to become aware of, and what's happening to not just the food culture, but just the repercussions of the changes in our food, in our food system. So let me know if you've been diagnosed with PCOS and what you're taking, what your doctor has you taking at this point, if you are, and if you're not taking those things, or if you have taken those things, and what your experience has been. I really want to hear this, and I want to get this information out on a person-to-person level. Some of these videos I find are great informational videos, but if you don't really understand some of the technical stuff, it's not going to make sense. And I want to keep it down on that level, not to insult anyone. You can get more detail easily, but sometimes we just need something that's more personable, that you can relate to, or you can turn around and share with someone else that may be dealing with this. And they shouldn't have to go decades like I did, thinking, oh, it's just part of PCOS, that I am starving and I just ate. What is wrong with me? And it's happening. It's part of brain function that's being altered, and it may not be PCOS. It may be they just need to cut out high fructose corn syrup, for example. So anyway, let me know what you think. Comment below, and let's get a discussion going. And if you have a video you want to link and let me know what's worked for you, or what's going on, or someone else's video that's helped you, please. I am not done on this journey of learning. So thanks for watching. And now to wait.